Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I wanted to give you guys an analogy to best help you understand why it's not a good idea to focus on the problem when it comes to manifesting, okay? This includes your third parties and how it continues to remain in your reality through your attention, okay? Now, this isn't my analogy. I did grab this from a book, and the book is called Parallel Universes of Self by Fredrik Dodson. Honestly, it was the best analogy I have ever heard anyone give on how you shouldn't give attention to unwanted things. Imagine you find yourself in a foreign country. You go into the restaurant, you look at the menu as you do, and the waiter comes over and asks you what you would like to order. And instead of telling him what you want, you tell him all the things that you don't want. And let's say there's a communication issue between you two. Let's say you both don't speak each other's language, okay? Imagine he can't speak a word of English. What do you think is going to happen? If you keep pointing out the things to him that you don't want instead of the things that you do want, what do you think is going to happen? The waiter is obviously going to assume that you want the things brought to you that you have pointed out, that that's what you want to eat. So that's exactly what's happening when you focus on the problem. When you keep the things you don't want in your attention, in your focus, you keep recreating it. The problem isn't going to go away by you pointing out the problem constantly. When has complaining ever worked anyway, even when you didn't know about manifesting? This is why manifesting coaches always tell you to take your focus away from the third party. No need to give it that attention that it's using to sustain itself, to maintain in your reality. You essentially keep providing it the food that it doesn't even deserve and the attention that it doesn't even need. Oh, and also another thing, guys, you don't need to go digging for old beliefs that no longer service you. Please don't go digging for them. This is where you add on a shitload of workload that wasn't even there in the first place, because whatever you focus on is going to grow. Yes, you're going to find limiting beliefs, but it's not going to stop there. You're going to keep creating more limiting beliefs, because I want you to treat your subconscious mind like it's a universal search engine. It's like you type in a question, it's going to keep providing you with results, thinking that's what you want. So when you're even asking for your limiting beliefs to come up because you have this presupposition that you need to release all your old beliefs to create new beliefs. By the way, that's a belief in itself, and it's a limited belief. Imagine me typing this into my universal search engine. My subconscious mind is going to give me a shitload of limiting beliefs to work on, and then I'm going to feel I've got a shitload of work to do before I can actually get the thing I want. You don't need to do that much work. You don't need to do that much digging, okay? Your limiting beliefs aren't somewhere deeply hidden in the subterranean of your subconscious mind. It's usually the first thought you have. You don't need to go and excavate all these limiting beliefs. There's going to be one or two, and it's going to be right in front of your face. It's going to make itself very apparent and transparent to you. And like I said, it's also a limiting belief in itself to think that you need to figure out your old beliefs to let go of them. You don't need to do anything, to be honest. You just have to loosen your grip just slightly over the old beliefs. By the way, guys, there is no such thing as self-sabotaging beliefs. I remember my therapist actually said this to me once, and I was like, what? These beliefs obviously benefited you at some point, okay? This is why we adopted them, for means of survival. So there is really no such thing as self-sabotage. Yes, it can present itself as such. Let me give you an exercise that I also read in the book, Parallel Universes of Self. I do highly recommend that book, guys. To truly replace your old beliefs, first and foremost, just ask yourself, what bad thing, because there must be something bad. Okay, let me give an example from my life. I haven't had the best childhood. I have actually been quite self-reliant as a child. There was no primary caregiver at the time that I could truly wholeheartedly trust. That belief obviously benefited me as a child. Growing up in that home, I needed to become self-reliant emotionally. However, in relationships, it's not the best thing. obviously, because you want to be able to trust people, you want to be able to depend on people. This is usually how these things play out in our interpersonal relationships, equations with people, friendships, romantic relationships, whatever. I learned to be really self-reliant to the point that I didn't, you become avoidant, or you become anxious avoidant. We develop these insecure attachments. I don't want to go too deep into them because that's not the point of this, because you're trying to surpass all of these attachments. So I had to become very clear on, how does this belief benefit me? How does it serve me? How does emotionally relying on myself serve me? It obviously serves me because I have noticed I'm laser focused, I get shit done when I'm solely relying on myself. I almost feel a little bit prideful of the fact that I can figure things out on my own. That's the benefit. It adds to my self-esteem. But I'm not judging myself here, I'm just being honest. And you got to reach a satisfactory answer, and just don't judge it, okay? The last thing you need is judgment from yourself. Is this my ego? Stop labeling things. Just leave them how they are. And ask yourself, what bad thing is going to happen if the desired reality actually manifests? Because it obviously isn't manifesting because there is some worry, tension, or limiting belief you have. Okay, so using the example of being totally emotionally reliant on myself, what bad thing is going to happen if, let's say, I have a secure relationship with my SP? What bad thing is going to happen? Again, don't judge yourself for the answers that come up. It's best to remain receptive to the answers than be so judgmental that you scare away your own self from answering yourself. And he also talks about how in the book, if you phrase the questions in this way, it just presupposes that you are the one who's not allowing this manifestation to come through, which by default is going to give you a sense of power over the manifested reality. Because paraphrasing it in this way is presupposing that not having your reality being manifested today has some kind of payoff. And it also is a reminder to you that you are the creator. Also just gives you that sense of power over the unmanifested reality. Again, it presupposes that it's not come true because you haven't allowed it to come true. And it's not dependent on any other external factors or third parties for that matter. If you have trouble answering these two questions, he mentions another tool that you can use, which is to ask yourself, what benefit does the undesired reality serve? There must be some benefit, assuming there is a payoff. This is why you're in this reality. So again, taking the example of being totally and emotionally self-reliant, that the benefit that it served to me was that I only have myself to worry about. I don't like the emotional heft of catering to other people's needs, because I've obviously done that when I was a child, and that's a lot to carry. So this just gives you more intel on why you're continuing to manifest the same thing, that even being in your undesired reality has some benefits. Now, when you are making that shift in your self-concept and you face some interceptions, some interruptions, some disturbances, don't make them a part of your new identity, but make them a part of the process. Don't let it scare you off. Again, giving an example of somebody that is maybe trying to manifest weight loss, okay? Maybe they feel that the path of least resistance was to eat a certain type of diet, and they feel when they are eating this way, they are feeling extremely tired and fatigued, assuming that this is inspired action, right? That they've taken. This is voluntary action. They have felt a calling to eat healthy, so to speak. See, if that person thinks fatigue and tiredness is a part of the new self-concept now, that this is just a reality they have to accept, obviously that's a limiting belief. Obviously that's not true. Otherwise, anyone that experiences weight loss would just not get out of bed. So you just want to label it as a part of the process, because obviously being fatigued all the time and weight loss are actually not inextricably linked. But if you start assuming it is, then it's going to play out that way. I hope that's making sense. Okay, that's all I wanted to say, guys. I will catch you guys in my next video.